Hello everyone! How are you doing today? Really, how are you? My name is Kirsty, and this is another episode of Is It Expired? Let's Shop My Stash. Here is my, as always, disclaimer: do not use expired makeup. I am well aware of the suggested expiry dates on each and every one of these products, and most of the time I'm just choosing to ignore them, but that's my choice. So if I end up with a breakout, pink eye, or a rash, I'll let you know. Hopefully that's not the case, but I'm testing some limits here. I definitely am. So what this project is about is utilizing what's already in my stash. I have over 1,000 makeup products in an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm using a random number generator to pick 5 items that I'm going to use for a week and determine whether or not it should hit the bin or if I can still use it for a little bit longer. So let's go over last week's picks, go through those, and see what I was able to use, see how things are doing, and then we'll get on to this week. So I have like this nice little setup, and then it's just straight disaster in this general area, which is lovely. It's great. Out of sight, out of mind. Am I right? Yeah. Okay, I'm that person that would just throw everything in the closet and like close the door and be like, Mom, I wouldn't open that. It might be fatal. It could be. I don't know how I threw everything in. The door is holding it in place. Do not touch. Moving on. Alright, so last week, most of the items are not old, so luckily I didn't have too many worries with them. Let's just get started with this Sweet Cheeks Private Cabana palette from Glam. I did get a little bit of use on it, which was nice. These are actually really pretty. They're beautifully They're beautifully blendable, and I just really like the shades. I do really like this, and I'm happy to keep using it. Again, only a year or two old, so no issues there. Moving right along. This is a mess. Okay, let me just quickly... Sorry, this was a straight disaster. This is the Cabana palette. My Excel spreadsheet was very on the term cabana last week, apparently. It was just loving it, just jam into it. From C-Color Cosmetics. It is like a dupe brand. They do a lot of dupes of high brands. This is of the Anastasia Riviera palette, which I don't actually have, so it was kind of nice to use this. The mattes are nothing spectacular. Like, I kind of really dug into this one here quite a bit because I wasn't getting the pigment that I wanted, but it was like a $10 palette. So for what it is, I'll do a little extra work to get the look I want. I have no real issues with it. The shimmers are actually quite beautiful. It's just the mattes take a little bit more work. They're very just light in coverage, so you do have to build them quite a bit. It is what it is, but I would use it again. I absolutely would. So I'm going to keep it around, and we'll see what happens next time. This I know was last week because I was angry about it the whole week. This is the Juvias Place I Am Magic Foundation. I don't generally wear a why can't I talk today? A full coverage foundation. I don't. It's not really my jam because my skin is quite clear. I'm very grateful to have nice skin, other than some redness. This is just, it's so thick. It's like that episode of The Simpsons where they get just pure squishy and they can't suck it out of the straw. That's what I imagine the consistency would be. It's so incredibly thick, and it's really hard for me to utilize. I do try to mix it with a bit of an oil to thin it out a bit, but in reality, it's just not my favorite foundation. If I had a friend or a family member who liked more of a full coverage, I'd probably just pass it along, but I don't believe I do, so I might just try to get as much use of it as possible, have it as like a backup, use it on days where maybe I'm not going anywhere and nobody's gonna see me and I can look like I paint rolled my face. It's fine. I'm gonna keep it for that, I guess, because I don't know what else to do with it. Moving on. I have 2 little fun things. I have no musical talent. It's fine. First, again, I hate when things get like messy, so it's just a huge pet peeve. I wipe everything down before putting it away. I'm that person. It's fine. This is the Beauty Face Stamp from Shop Miss A. This is the heart one. It does have a heart on one side. Just a stamp. And then just a liquid eyeliner on the other side. So I probably kind of looked crazy with heart stamps all over my face all week, but it was fun. This, again, not that old. Everything I've shown so far is within the last couple of years. So I'm going to keep it. I'll likely more use it for just the eyeliner, but the stamps are fun. They're fun. They're a little bit of pizzazz in your look, you know? Just a little bit of Shazam. I don't know. Last from last week. I'm in a weird mood today. I'm sorry. I haven't eaten anything. But I've had caffeine, so I'm just wildin' out here. Straight wildin'. This is the No Cosmetics, K-N-O-W Cosmetics, No Bleeding Lips, which is very confusing. It took me forever to find the brand of what this was, because I don't even know if it says on here. I don't think it does. It does not say the brand. It just says No Bleeding Lips Secret Lip Liner. But then if you like look into it a little bit more, it is No with a K-N Cosmetics. I don't know. Very confusing, but this is incredibly old. This is 8 or 9 years old. I don't even know if it did anything. Like, I mean, it's coming, like, it is working. I can see that the product is coming out. It didn't just crumble when I tried to use it, and I did actually do, like, an orange lip, a bright purple lip, a deep red lip, and there was no bleeding or feathering, so maybe it did something, and it's just due to the fact that it's, like, a clear product. It's very hard to gauge if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing when, you know, generally you wear liquid lipsticks that don't bleed and feather. So I'm gonna keep it just because it's still working. I don't know if I'll use it again. If somehow this ends up coming back around in this project, I don't know what I'm doing. If it does come back around in the project and I haven't used it again in that time, I will probably declutter it, because I wouldn't feel right giving this to someone else with it being almost 10 years old. But I'll use it because I have no shame. It's fine. So that was last week's items. I did enjoy playing with them. I got ready 5 times, so I did get a good indication of whether or not any of these things had gone off. Yeah, the eyeshadow palette's a little low pigment, but I think it was always like that. I don't think that's an expiry thing. I just think that's a brand thing. So I'm going to keep everything for now, and we'll see what happens if they come back around. It's just kind of nice to get reacquainted with these things. But let's move on to this week. Oh, I've got like a whole precarious pile over here that I might just completely knock over. Okay. First, I did pull a palette. This is the Glitz Whiz by Glam palette. Drop the whole thing. I guess if we break it, we can just declutter it. This is the palette here. It is, I believe, it says Ecstasy over here, so I'm assuming it's the Glitz Whiz Ecstasy palette. This is kind of funny because I bought this at the beginning of 2021. It's almost 3 years old, but not quite, like 2.5. 2.5 years? Yeah, okay. This is about 2.5 years old, so it's not super old. And I actually really do like it, but as a lot of you probably know, this is another dupe palette. Now the issue with that is that I actually have the palette it was duped off of. So, I'm sure you can tell, very similar. There's a couple things in different spots, but in reality, it's based on this palette. This is the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette, and I got this, I got this at the end of 2021, so I ended up getting this after, just to kind of see what the formula was like. And the funny thing is I actually like the shimmers in the dupe palette better, but the mattes in the original better. So I would kind of mix and match. The shimmers in this one just seem to be smoother and more pigmented. I'm struggling with this one, and I don't know if it is expired, because when I got it, I was already struggling. Good example here. So Twilight, which is this beautiful yeah, I mean, it's like a multi-chrome. It does have some purple, some pink. It's got some beautiful undertones to it. And the dupe one here is here. Now, this one doesn't actually have a name, but I'll kind of show you. Ooh. One of these days, straight to the moon. Ah, okay. Over here works. I'm trying to figure out the lighting still. So I really dug into these, but these are the two swatches. The one on top is the Huda Beauty. The one on the bottom is the Glam, and it's just more pigmented. It works better. It's smoother on my eyes. It's very strange to me. So I do really like this one for the shimmers, but I do really like the Huda mattes. So I'm going to keep both. They're both fairly new in my collection, a couple of years, not the end of the world. I'm just going to keep playing with them both. Mix and match, even though they're pretty much the same palette. Whatever. Moving right along. Next. Just the guttural braying. Next. Less caffeine, more food, probably. Okay. Next. Clinique Even Better foundation in the shade Neutral. These I have definitely had for like nine years. I got these when I worked at Sephora. I would definitely declutter this, except I have actually been using it quite a bit in the last 6 months or so, and it's got like this much left. Like, I think it'll be done after this week. I really do. I'm very close. I struggle to squeeze some out every time I do my makeup, so this is going to be done by the end of the week. Might as well just use it up and ship it on out of my collection. Move it on out. Roadhouse. I don't know what that song, I don't think those correlate, but it's fine. That one will be done, and I'm excited. Next. This is beautiful. This is the Guerlain. I'm not French, so I'm just going to apologize now. Poudre, Visage, Illuminatrice. I went from like pretending to have an accent to not at all. Poudre, Visage, Illuminatrice. This... I am so sorry. It's the face highlighting powder. It's Guerlain, so it's in French first, and then I didn't even realize that English was beneath it. God. It's gonna be a day, isn't it? Anyway, absolutely stunning. It's marketed as a highlighter, but I use it as a bronzer because it is very dark for my pasty skin as a highlighter. It's not going to happen, but it is a stunning bronzer. This is only about a year old. I think I got this last summer, but I did get it at Winners. So I think it was part of like a holiday collection. I just don't know which one. So I don't know the original like birth date of this bad boy. I just know I've only had it for like just over a year. And it still works beautifully. I absolutely love it. It blends into the skin seamlessly. It is like this just natural glow. It's like being out in the sun if you weren't me and didn't immediately burn. Because, yeah, I don't get a tan. I just go from this to lobster. That's it. That's my two skin tones. That's all I got. But I love this. I absolutely do. It's like I'm faking it. It does also come in like this beautiful little, I love its little velvet case. It's so luxurious. If I could get it back in. Very luxury. Happy to use it. Next. This is the BH Cosmetics Doja Cat Flora Peony Blush Trio. I might have got this at Winners too, actually. I think I got this about 2 years ago at Winners. I don't, again, know when this collection came out. Probably like 3 years ago. I don't think it's incredibly old, but it is a little older. I got this because of that beautiful yellow shade, and I know it's like a weird concept to just throw yellow on your cheeks, but when you blend this with one of the other shades or anything else in your collection, I love it. I do have the yellow on today, and yes, you can kind of like get a hint of it, and it's just a little funky, but you put it with something a little more natural, and it's not off-putting, and that's what I like about it. So I do really like this. I'm excited to play with it for a few days. I couldn't even find it in my collection when I pulled it. I had to really dig everything out because I have so many blushes. And I've totally forgot about this. I probably haven't used it in like a year, and I really like it. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Last here, I do have the Makeup Revolution, I Heart Revolution, House of Revolution. They sound like a cult. They might be. I don't know. The Praline lip gloss. This was part of the chocolate collection when they did those big chocolate bar holiday sets. I think they did them 3 years in a row, and I got 2. So I believe that was 4 and 5 years ago, or 5 and 6. I can't remember, and I honestly couldn't tell you which one this came out of, so it's between 4 and 6 years old. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it. It still smells like chocolate. And candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. I really do like these glosses. I have, I think, 6 of them between the 2 collections, and I actually use them quite often. So I think one day, eventually, I'll be able to actually use some of these up, and that is an exciting thought because I don't know if I've ever fully used a lip gloss up. I've definitely decluttered some because they can smell funky, or they get chunky. That wasn't supposed to rhyme, but here we are. So this is doing okay, and I'm excited to keep using this. That is week 5, I think. Are we at week 5? I even had these like listed. I don't know. I think I'm at week 5. These are all, nothing in here is really that new. The thing about makeup is the market is so saturated. There are so many different brands and so many different products, and don't get me wrong, we love them. We see it, we get excited, and then suddenly our collections are out of hand. And I'll be honest, there is a Glam Care Bears collection that I am waiting for it to drop on the Canada app, and I am picking up most of that. Anyway, the point is, of course we get excited about it, that's the point. But we also have to take a look at what we already have and think, do I need this? Is this going to bring joy to me and my collection? And the Care Bears one will, yes, that is my joy. That is actually going to be my birthday present to myself, so I'm just running with it. It's fine. I do very much respect the opinions of others when it comes to not supporting Glam and Shein. I get it, I understand it, I respect it, and I think that's the biggest part of the beauty community. As long as we can understand and respect each other's opinions, we don't necessarily always need to have the same opinion. And that's really the bottom line. We're all human, we all make our own choices, and that's fine. What I want from this project is simply to get more use out of my products, and hopefully, eventually, be able to use them up and get them out organically instead of having to declutter them because they're expired. So that's what I'm here for, that's what I'm doing, that's why this is important to me, and I hope it's a ride for you. I hope you at least enjoy the show. Even if it does end up with me coming in one day with an eye patch because I've got pink eye. That is the end of this video, I think, because I just keep rambling and I apologize. So, have yourselves a wonderful weekend, wonderful night, a wonderful journey in your life. And I'll see you next week.